Welcome to Reclaimed Heritage,
a place where we discuss traditional skills for the practical home.
We're your hosts, Christy,
Carrie,
and Elaine.
Use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without.
You can spend $1 on a jacket in a thrift store, and you can spend $1,000 on a jacket in a shop. And if you saw those two jackets walking down the street, you probably wouldn't know which was which. Helen Mirren.
Welcome back. We are in season 2. We are now on episode 7. And in this episode, we are diving into thrifting and repurposing. So ladies, when I say thrifting and repurposing, what is the thing that comes to mind that you do naturally?
For me, I just, I don't have any piece of furniture in my house. I mean, besides couches and beds, of course, but like that can't be used somewhere else in my home. Mm-hmm. I want it to all feel cohesive and be cohesive. So that means I've shopped at garage sales and thrift stores and everything over the years and painted stuff and stripped it down and made it work somewhere else. Yeah.
Same. I would say like a lot of the stuff in your home, you have done a great job of buying something that is... It is a used item that then you have like refinished or repurposed. Mine isn't that way. Mine is mostly new things. But then like once they're in, they're not leaving.
You're in for life.
You're in for life. Yeah. No. I mean, it's weird. Like I have like this crazy need to get rid of as many things as possible. But for some reason, if it's furniture of any kind, like it's just there to die. And so... the first thing I thought about when we repurposed and thrifting in our conversations was whenever I'm ready to redo something, I kind of like shop my house first. Because chances are I have something in a room that like it's there, but it doesn't need to be there, or we could use it in a different manner. And so I would say like the thing that just keeps getting repurposed, if anybody has them, and I don't remember the name of them, but they're like the IKEA cube shelves where like you can put the little soft bins in them, or you can take them out and use. I mean, I think they've been everything, including like a bed frame. So,
yeah, I'm kind of on the same wavelength. I mean, we've spent most of my married life living in small spaces with lots of people. So when it comes to furniture, I am obsessed with any furniture that serves many purposes. So storage. Yep. Like case in point, you know, my TV stand is a dresser, and I have the drawers, and those drawers have DVDs in it. A couple drawers have cars, Duplo blocks, and sheet music for the piano. So if it doesn't have multi-purpose, and if I can't store something in it, I just don't have room in my life for just something cute that has no purpose. So that would be my thing.
One of my favorite things now is I used to, when I was young and we didn't have much money, I would shop my parents' basement, like because that's where things go to die, right? Like, so rather than donate, my mom would just move it to the basement. So that was one of my ways to like kind of redecorate without spending money. And my daughters are doing it now. So they like bring up stuff. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I even forgot. I had so I have to give it away.
Okay, so Rachel... she's 19 and she's the queen of shopping my house, but not with permission. Okay, so like I will go into her room and I'm like, that's mine. Like, you took this from my bedroom. You weren't using it. Yeah. And I'm like, it's just a decoration. Like, it's just meant to make it pretty.
But it looks better.
And that's what she said. She goes, but it looks better in my room. But I'm like, no, I don't think it does. And then like as I like pick it up to turn around, I'm like, hey, wait, that's my chair. Like, my desk. She's like, Mom, your desk is covered in papers. You don't sit at it. I'm like, what? It doesn't really matter. Like, it's still my chair. Like, don't be logical.
What's yours is mine, Mom.
Yes. I'm like, there's a movie on the tip of my tongue where I feel like this is happening, where somebody can see them like they have all their possessions. But, it's Cinderella. It's Cinderella. Where, like, she comes down and she's like, those are my beads. Yeah. And, like, they're tearing. Okay, this.
I'm still thinking furniture. I'm like, I don't think Cinderella had much furniture.
But it's that. Like, you're not using it. I'll just borrow it.
Yeah. That happens at our house, too. Like, I have that little end table thing on the side of my wingback chair in the living room. And many times I go to put my coffee down and it's missing. And it's in Caden's room because he needs an extra spot for a gaming remote or maybe his drink.
Probably
He doesn't want it on his desk. And same thing.
Have kids, they said.
It'll be great. It is.
It is. So
It is fantastic.
But yeah, so
that is the part of it that is fun, is thinking creatively about what this can do, and does it move? I mean, obviously the kids are picking up on nothing that's nailed down. So
yes,
that is one of the biggest things. And buying well when you can, whether it's clothing or furniture or whatever, so that you can pass it down.
Yes, yeah. So I think it just right before we started recording today, we were talking about how all of us kind of thought of the repurposing component more than the thrifting component, because we all are at this point in our life naturally thrifters. I had a mom who thrifted. That's where we always got all of our clothes and things like that. So it wasn't new to me. Now, my husband comes from a family that I actually think I could probably safely say his mother has never been in a thrift store. So to her, this is like...
She does not know what she's missing.
Well, yes. But I mean, every time she would see the little girl, my big girls when they were little, she'd say, "Oh my goodness, those dresses are so beautiful. Where did you get them from?" And I'm like, "The thrift store for like $2." And she was just, could not believe that you could like buy things. So I think generationally, the like mindset around thrifting is different. So when I was a kid and we thrifted, it was never something you would have gone to school and been like, "Look what I got for $2." It was like a shameful thing. But now, like, you're like, it doesn't matter how much money you do or don't have. Like, thrifting is very in and trendy.
Well, I had a grandmother that wasn't the get on the floor and play with you kind of grandma. It was kind of like, you were on holidays kind of shuffled off, and there was a kids table and everything. So she had some health issues back then we didn't realize. And, but she was a great grandmother when I was like a young mom, and she would like slide me $20. She loved that I thrifted because she was a thrifter. So she would like go, "Here, honey, here's $20. I want you to spend it on yourself at the thrift store." You know, like sweet things like that. So I have pieces of furniture and things that she purchased for me in that way.
That's
so
very sweet.
They won't ever leave. They're at my house forever.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and we should acknowledge, like, in today's economy, thrifting isn't what it used to be.
Right.
You know, when COVID hit and Instagram kind of blew up actually as like a secondhand thrift thing. So my daughter got in on that action where she would go to thrift stores, and, you know, you're going through 100 pieces to find one, and then she would resell it. And then, like, even up to 2021, it was very profitable. But with the inflation, we've all talked about this, the thrift stores that you used to be able to go to and get a $2 to $5 dress if you could hunt, I mean, their starting prices are like $15.99 for. So she has since stopped doing her business for that reason, because it is
I have one still redoing furniture though.
Yes, you
she's
do?
Yeah, she's still painting, stripping, selling stuff that is, you know, and it's going for much more. So that's kind of nice.
That is good.
It is really nice.
But yeah, there's little niches in that niche. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah, I think we've all experienced like
I
if
say
you can.
niche.
Yes.
It sounds more proper.
Okay, niche.
Oh my goodness, this was a humongous argument at my house about a year ago between me and my girls. So both
niche
of
or the
them
niche?
are great.
Oh. I like potato.
Yep. Yes. Oh, but we have found that the like not name brand, air quote name brand thrift stores tend to be the best finds. So
I think so. If you have one that's like a some of the ones that support like the cancer research, or
there's one in Hilliard that supports missionaries.
there's
So
a small Mennonite one that's excellent. Their books
my
are
favorite.
Have
Have you ever been there, Elaine?
there's a lot of
No.
We might tell you the
homeschooling
name.
material there.
It's
Maybe
on the way to
you
Costco.
should just bring me. Because I might get lost.
It's
It's
very
near Costco.
small.
Is
It's
it?
near Costco. It is the best thrift store
Really?
I've ever been in.
Really?
Yes. So I would say if you were like me and you live like in, you know, a suburban area and you're used to like, I don't know that these are nationwide, but like Goodwill, Volunteers of America, which are fine. But if you like kind of move out of the city into more rural areas, you might find smaller, privately owned.
We called it junkin'.
Stores.
You know,
Yes.
when you do garage sales or estate sales or, you know, the little flea markets on the side of a road somewhere. You know, it was always, I come from a long line of ladies who like to go junkin'.
Yes. Our family has always been obsessed with garage sales. So
Yes.
your neighborhood, Elaine, has like
We do.
the best
Yeah.
garage sales.
Yes. The oddest thing, though, when we lived in New England, yard sales are only on Saturday and Sundays. So that took a while to figure out that you do Fridays here, and sometimes
Thursdays.
which was odd. But yes, we do love yard selling and thrift shopping. When I was thinking about this topic, I was trying to think of how are we tying this into homesteading. So, and I was really thinking, and we keep talking about being a producer, not just a consumer, and even just acquiring some of the things you need to homestead does take money. So any money you save thrifting is money that you can take to put towards something else. Even so, one of my favorite things to buy at thrift stores are kitchen items. So our ice cream machine went. We love to make ice cream. I found one at the thrift for $8.
Yep.
And as I'm in the thrift store, I look it up. It's a Cuisinart. And it was $120 on Amazon. So right there, I mean, that is like $112.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't have spent the $112, so I really couldn't say it's in my pocket. But when you're when you're thrift shopping, it's not just when you don't have money you thrift shop. It's being a good steward of your money.
Absolutely.
So even by us thrift shopping, even as, I mean, there was a time in our lives where thrift shopping was an absolute must. Like, we weren't going to have clothes
Same.
if we didn't go to the thrift store. And as my husband's income went up, it's not always, I can buy clothes at the store if we need to. But in an effort to, like, show hospitality or, you know, help other people who are financially in need, this affords us the opportunity of stewarding our money well. So it's kind of getting rid of the stigma that thrift shopping is if you don't have.
Right.
So you need to do it. But it's really just stretching your money so that it's available for whatever God calls you to do with that money. You can go
Some
to
of my
other
favorite things to buy, too, for hospitality would be like table linens and things because you can do nicer than you probably would. I'm not running to Williams-Sonoma and buying all of their cloth napkins. But I can usually find something at thrift that works and then... that's lovely. I've bought in tons of bushel baskets, things that we use in the garden all the time. One of my favorite things was I found restaurant, looked like pasta bins. So it was like a huge strainer that was stainless steel with handles. So we could put the produce in it, rinse it off, and the water would come out. We use them for processing chickens. We use them for, and he's like, we need to get more of these. That's the problem. That's the problem with thrift is you can't find a new favorite shirt and go back and get a different color.
Right.
No. That's how you've acquired most of your not servingware, but it's not dinnerware. What would you call
Crystal
it?
or
Your
glassware?
I mean, I would say
It's
crystal
glassware.
or glassware.
It's glassware. That was a pattern that my mom used to find back in the day. Anchor hocking used to be right here in Ohio. So it's an old anchor hocking pattern, and my mom used to find it at garage sales. That was like the thing we would help her to hunt for, you know, like I think that's where I was really pulled into the hunting part of it. But and so I just keep acquiring it. It goes with everything. It's simple and easy. And if it breaks, I can probably buy it for $1 at thrift.
Right.
Mine is shoes. The thing, like the first thing that I look for in any thrift store or any garage sale is shoes. Because they are pricier, but they are one of those things that are unique in that they seem to just last longer. Like if you're finding a really good pair of leather anything, typically they still have a lot of life in them. And I never feel guilty. Like when I've paid $2 or $3 for a pair of shoes, even for the little girls, if it doesn't fit, we just pass them to another family. I don't feel like I've wasted the money or whatever. It's just, you know, do the best that you can. But I will say like my thrifting has... Now that the bulk of my kids who are thrifters can drive, they thrift on their own a lot. And, you know, our teeter-totter is a little in a different place. So buying clothes for 2 little girls versus everybody is, you know, easier and cheaper. So we haven't been thrifting for clothes as much. I mean, I think that I also think that there's kind of been like a shift in what's available in your stores. So Walmart clothing, Target clothing really like just came on the scene when our oldest girls were really little.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It is different. Like I can walk into Walmart and get a pair of leggings for, like $2.98. That it wasn't like that when my big girls were little.
Right.
So the thrifting was more necessary. Or even clearance shopping. I put that in the same boat. My mom is the queen of clearance shopping, but we don't live close to the stores anymore, so that part is not
one of the many things I miss
easy.
about my mother-in-law, though, is she was the queen of shopping the clearance for the next season even. So she'd shop for the kids at Kohl's or Macy's and get like the next size up, and she'd have lovely boxes of wrapped clothes for them for back to school. She always got everybody an outfit, Yeah.
Well, and part of, being thrifty or frugal with your money that we can talk about is even shopping seasonally. So, like, we all homeschool.
Right.
And pretty much any homeschool mom will tell you, like, if you need pencils, you're going to buy them in August. Don't ask me for pencils in January because you're not getting any. No. Oh, your crayons are broken? That'll be in
Hoard
August.
the pencils. I just put new ones out.
Right. Right. But just following those patterns of what to buy and when to buy it.
I'm a pencil snob too, so there's one brand for me.
Does it start with a T?
Yes, it does.
I gave up on that.
The black ones are my favorite, but those ones are very
we do them.
When you have boys that use your pencils, they double for arrows that they put their stick bows. You start to know.
Yeah.
But I love how you brought up the glassware. They just don't make things as good a quality anymore. So, like the glassware you're talking about, I have not that particular pattern, but I don't know. You would know better. I have this glass water pitcher that's old. It like has like the little squares all around it. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. And I've had it forever. It never breaks. I have these IKEA water pitchers that we break all the time. Okay. And then we're at this 1800 like reenactment farm this week with the children, and they go into the dining area and they look in the little hutch. You're like, we have that picture. Like, it's the best picture. But those are the kind of deals you can find at a thrift shop, and those are the kind of things you pass on. Like your glassware, they're going to be passed on for generations. And I'm sorry, but the Walmart glasses probably are not.
No.
Unless it's Corel, because
this is true.
That'll be like the ancient artifact,
right?
Which it is hard. I mean, Corel now. Oh my gosh, have you seen what those old Corel patterns are going for?
The Pyrex, all of it is crazy. Like, oh my goodness,
it's shocking.
One of my girls was shopping the basement recently and saw like the lime green Tupperware that my mom had given me, like the canister set, and she's like, "Mom, like you could totally display this." And I'm thinking, really? Like,
yes.
Some things from my childhood, like the mom jeans, I just don't want to repeat.
Well, and it's really funny how like the brands stick with you, because when we were cleaning out my grandmother's stuff, anything Tupperware, I was like, I'm taking that. Even my mom was like, really? And I'm like, listen, it's Tupperware. I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
It was made in the USA. There's many reasons why this has become popular again. As people research and find out, what's in some of the newer products. So, I mean, there's that reasoning, but it is lovely. I can't help but, be pulled in when I see somebody's Instagram with the nostalgic, pattern of something that I'm like, my friend's mom had that and we ate dinner there.
Well, and so like kind of through the grapevine of family, we were sent an article from like a guy who runs estate sales. So like when older people pass, instead of trying to, have family come in and take what they want, they just basically will like do an estate sale of everything in the home.
Those are the bougie yard sales.
Yes. But what the article was about is how they literally can't even get a vote away for free. So, if you're a newer couple and you're looking for furniture, chances are like he's basically was saying like no one wants wood. No one wants wood furniture because we have raised a culture of
that is
people
crazy
and their generation wants to be mobile. They don't want to buy a house. They want to lease the car. They want the apartment, and they want the IKEA furniture. So that when they're done and the new trend is in, or they're moving, there's no like commitment. It was cheap. It was light. It was easy. We can just move on and not feel burdened by this furniture.
This does not come naturally to me. Like when I was decorating our camper, my husband kept saying, honey, you can't have a wood hutch out here. I'm like, but we could store so much. And he's like, I have to pull it.
Right.
Like, we can't do that.
Well, and so it's just a shame because like you were talking about with the quality, like how do you impart that? How do you convince like our young generation that like it is quality over, I hate to even say beauty, but like at some point, I mean, the bedroom
functionality of what it is.
Was Brian's grandmother's. It's not what you would consider trendy by any means, or you don't walk into my bedroom. No one has ever come in my room and be like, whoa, your furniture. Gorgeous. Ever. Not even me. Okay.
I bet you Eli would.
But the drawers are like the dovetail drawers. And we have bought IKEA furniture within like the last 4 years. Like I have a desk from there. I mean, my house is a mix of the two. But let me tell you, the screwing in of the IKEA, like eventually I have hardly anything that I've purchased from IKEA that doesn't have a split or like a nail that's come out, or like I have shelves that are 10 years old, but like the backing of them, we had to take them off and anchor them to the wall. Like it just isn't the same. And so go to these estate sales. Like if you're looking for
even at
quality furniture.
My mom taught me to not look, go to your size if your thrift store does do sizes, but then you don't look at everything. You don't touch everything. You look for a quality fabric. Like you recognize quality fabrics, and it's because it's a waste of time to sit there and run through the rack. So you look for the quality, look for wear and tear, look for all of those things. And thankfully, I've taught my daughters that. So they are better at it even than I am. They come home with finds. Like that's our girls' night. We go get coffee and then we go to the thrift store.
It is so true, though, how when you've done it long enough and you finally touch the piece of fabric and you look at the tag, there's always always like 1 of 10 tags.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, guaranteed.
Talbots. Yes. That is always me.
Ann Taylor.
Mine's Ann Taylor. Yes. Typically, if I'll stop. White House Black Market. Like, that's what I'm saying. There's like 10 that every time you're like, it is good.
Yes.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
But that would be my recommendation, too, is if you have a more affluent area in your city. Or like for us, there's a few different places in the Columbus area. Like gravitate towards those thrift stores when you're looking for clothing, or if you're looking for furniture, that's a good place. Sometimes maybe the wrong side of the tracks, some of their furniture is awesome because they don't care, and it's the whole. It's old, and they don't want it, and they just ship it off.
It makes me so sad, even just hearing about that. It makes me sad that there may be a generation of people that aren't passing furniture down where someone can say, this was your great-grandmother's.
My husband would say I take all the furniture because I love older things, and we do have 3 hutches in our house.
I'm going to take the furniture because it is very expensive. Like if I'm going to take something from someone's house, most of the time it'll be furniture. Just because I know I can use it in some space. It's going to be great for storage.
I have enough children that I'd love to pass some of them on when,
Right. It's not the $2.98 leggings, though, that I can get at Walmart.
Right.
Like furniture, even cheap, trashy furniture is still so expensive.
It is outrageous when you see cheap, non-wood furniture and what they're asking for the price is...
Yeah.
This is why I'm Facebook Marketplace all the way. Because then I can take a fraction of whatever it costs and get real furniture instead of fake furniture.
I was shopping today for a bookshelf on Facebook Marketplace because I'm getting ready to rearrange, and that is one thing that the thrift store or the junk sales will always get me. You girls know we've done antique malls. So you will find me where the books are. So I'm constantly investing
My books
in
are
bookshelves,
everywhere.
and I like nice bookshelves. I can't the fall apart ones. We have struggled with those over the years. Same kind of thing that you're talking about, where the particle board just says no at some point.
I have to keep turning
and
the
we brace
shelves
it
because they keep bowing.
Yes. So.
And then finally, this time with Matthew, like we moved from a soap room to a bedroom, and we wanted to use our soap shelving for the girls. And I'm like, you're going to have to anchor it because it has seen better days.
Yeah.
But
it looked cute.
Yes, it is. I mean, I love it. It's working out great. But that's the thing. Like, really early on in our marriage, I would have said to Brian, like, it's not working. Like, that, it's when you're looking at the bookshelves and they're wobbling like left to right. And like if you were to just push hard enough, that particle board would just crack and be trash. We would have tossed it. I would have just been like, this is, but you just figure it out and make do.
We had a couch that we referred to as the cardboard couch because it looked cute, but really it was just, I think it was just cardboard. And
we had one IKEA couch that I got secondhand that was like a pull-out bed, like a single twin, like pull-out, but it really just kind of sat on the floor. And Heath's like, I don't care if you only paid $50 for this. It's the most uncomfortable thing I've ever sat on. Sell it and get rid of it because So sometimes I love IKEA. I love going through for ideas, but I look at the furniture and I think
organization.
Yeah, same.
That's why I go there. Is
but
to
my
get
boys
tips.
would break one of their couches. I'm afraid even in a store. So
we had someone sit down to my embarrassment, and when they put their elbow on the armrest, their elbow dipped in the cardboard couch.
I can't help but think of the Friends episode with Joey in the cardboard car.
Yes.
Same premise. Same premise. Cardboard couch.
You just had a cover over the cardboard.
We're in the place where all of the couches in our house need help. So we have...
If you can get out of them.
Yes.
They're so deep.
They're huge.
That, we put a board in ours. I just told Heath, we need to probably shop for a new couch. But I have all these sons, and they don't sit... No. And I don't want them to sit delicately, so please hear me.
But do they ever throw each other onto the couch?
They throw their own bodies on the couch.
They do, and they do it at mine and yours. It's when well, you have enough boys, but when your boys come to my house, it literally looks like, have you ever seen like a fish that like jumps out of water with its tail?
The dads that do the diving in the pools that way. Yeah,
like if you could just take two teenage boys together who like jump and
slam each other onto a couch.
And when it happens, I'm like, it's a good thing there's the board under there. I think you'd break it.
I've actually stitched up one of the arms. Thankfully, you can't really tell. Like, those of you who've been hung out at my house, I know you've seen it. But it was our one of our new purchases when we bought our old house. Like, we bought new furniture. So to me, it's very hard to
let it
part with. But it needs to, like, every time I sit on it, I think, oh, this gotta go.
A cute video I thought of you, though, because she did, really, wasn't canvas. It was a very thick yarn, and she, did, like flowers. Like, she cross-stitched flowers into some of the patches on her couch, like, the very corners of her couch. It was beautiful when she did it, but...
I did that with the denim chair we had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we used to do it with kids' clothes. Now, my mother is an excellent seamstress. I'm not a sketch a generation. It went from my mother to my daughter. And here's the deal. I'm not sad about it.
She has not tried.
Because my mom can do it, and my daughter can do it. So it's not a skill I need.
So your daughter's no longer home, then.
I'll bring it to her.
Here,
joyfully.
honey.
You'll take her laundry and she'll mend your clothing.
Yes, but she was always great at she could run like a pink flower stitch or something when because now I sound old, but when our big girls were little, leggings weren't a thing. My girls wore jeans, so you would get the holes
and some even embroidered. That was kind of the thing.
Oh, absolutely. So you could patch up the hole and move it down to the next little one, and
We have a couple of chambray shirts that I've done cute things on out of necessity. I think Shelby ripped a hole at it fair one time, but she still wears it. She's like, it's one of my favorites, Mom. And all I did was little stitches on the elbow, but
cute.
Well, I was running through some Great Depression things today. I was curious what their repurposing was. And what's interesting is how, to me, so much of what we, when I say the things on this list, all of us, I guarantee you will think about your mom or your grandma having this, but how I don't think a single one of my daughters would say that this would be something that they would keep in their home, within 2 to 3 generations.
Tell me.
Okay, so
tell me.
Paper was one. So we used to have, and even in school. Here's the thing. I was thinking of school.
Oh, they use both sides of paper.
You would use both sides. Yeah. So if something got printed and the backside was blank, it would go in the scrap paper pile. And then if you needed to color or whatever you wanted to do, you would have these bins of paper. So they talked about how they would never throw them away. They would even regift it. So they would just save scraps of paper if one side was blank, and they would cut them into cute little shapes, hole punch them and tie a string. That would be one of their gifts. Okay, fabric scraps.
Oh, yeah.
My mother had a like metal huge drum with a metal lid. And like I said, she was a seamstress, and so were both my grandmothers. And so as a little girl, I just remember anytime we needed fabric for anything, there would be fabric of all shapes and sizes in this little scrap thing.
Yeah.
And
did you have one of those doll things that had the doll with the lid that you lifted up, and she was like in her little, it was like Barbie.
Oh, yes.
You know, and then you take little scraps of paper and put them over her, and then pull the lid back down. Yes. Yeah.
So my mom made all of our Barbie doll clothes when we were little. She would just use fabric scraps, and she would sew the Barbie doll clothes and the furniture. Like, she would take 2 pieces of wood to like make a couch, and then she would sew like a floral something and cover it.
Ben probably had old shirts. You know, they didn't let a button go. They
buttons was the other one. Yeah. How many?
They
come on, they all have a button box.
I have a button box.
I have a button box.
Yeah.
I don't have a button box, but this is why. Because if it breaks, I'm not putting a new one on anyways. But I should.
This podcast is for you.
It really is for me. It is. Yeah. But they were talking about how, okay, now this is the difference, because like in the Depression era, I don't know that they really had like the thrift store component. So when I was reading about it, they were saying that like if something was, first of all, you were never completely done with something. So like if you were repurposing a shirt into something else, you would have just cut off every one of the buttons to save. For us, when we're like done with the shirt,
we donate it.
We donate it in its entirety. We don't cut the buttons off and repurpose it. So I think that part of that is
I do. If I really like the shirt, or if I know my daughters really love that shirt of Heath's, I will save it.
The shirt or the buttons?
I save the buttons too. The buttons go in the button basket.
Interesting.
And Asher Asher and Jubilee take all fabric. So before I donate, if they like the fabric, they take it for their sewing projects. So we do have storage bin of just fabric, shirts, dresses, and the buttons. And they make their, Jubilee makes American Girl doll clothes with it. And they're doing that more than I'm doing that. But it's better than me having to go to Walmart and buy fabric for them to do their project.
It's still using it up. Yeah.
Yep. String was another one. So they would just keep all pieces of string.
Well, they didn't really have tape. So, like, that was for all packages or anything you were sending. Food stuff. Like, they really, I
think they use string a lot more in their cooking than we currently use in our cooking. The flour sacks, which are infamous for being used for clothes. So
my favorite quilts are made from those. They're
and I just love the story of them printing. Like, they figured out people were wearing it. They added the print, and it's just so beautiful. And
it's part of American heritage. It really is
lovely. But it got me thinking about how, like, and you know, if you're on Instagram or you like fall into this niche, you will have seen, like, I mean, we all have seen on Sound of Music, you know, where she uses the curtains to make the dresses. But like, they really are talking about how, like, when you go to the thrift store, the thing that there is always an abundance of are tablecloths, sheets, old curtains, and sheets. And how you can take those to make anything. I mean, even throw pillows or quilts or, you know, little clothes. Like, making a dress for toddlers isn't really that difficult. I mean, you can make them we made pillowcase dresses. You know, that was all the rage for a little bit. It was just so easy and simple and cheap.
And fun.
Tires. Now they would. Okay, so they would burn them, even though like it was insanely unhealthy. It was one of their only sources of heat sometimes. But I was thinking about all the different ways that we still reuse tires. So I think maybe all three of us have the same. We repurpose them for chickens. That's where we use our old tires.
I put my our ashes from the wood stove in there. Those are our dust baths. Yeah,
the dusting baths.
Explain to me old tires. How does one have old tires?
Well, like when you replace the tires on your car.
See. This is where we differ.
Elaine is a princess, and she travels in a pumpkin coach with
glass wheels.
When our tire blows up and shreds, we get a new tire. So
if only she was joking.
I know, right? She's not. No. Like, listen, this is every long trip that we go on. We're like, where are the Foibies? Yes. Oh, wait, they had a tire issue.
Then we get a new tire. So there are no tires hanging around.
She's like, in one piece, a tire? What? What is this thing?
It's kind of like our vehicles. Do we trade in our vehicle? No. When our vehicle dies.
Explodes on the side of the road.
Buy a new one.
Yeah.
Not a new one.
You call the people
An
that
old
you can
one.
donate
to
cars
you,
to,
yeah.
and they're like, no thanks.
They show up. Never mind.
No,
Never
we're
mind.
I mean, as you were talking about donating clothes to thrift, I'm thinking, by the time my kids are done with their
Yeah.
Oh,
clothes,
my boys'
I
clothes.
can't donate
Which,
those.
but that's part of the hard
No, I pitched
part
them.
of shopping thrift when you
Yes.
have young boys
Yeah.
in that category because there's no jeans.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so when I was a little girl, I couldn't understand this concept. I remember my mom having a conversation with her, at that time, her best friend, and she had 2 boys, and then, you know, my mom has the 2 girls. And I remember her telling my mom, like, and I swear it was Penny's or Sears. It's the only place she bought jeans because they guaranteed
Yes, Sears.
no hole
It was Sears.
in the knee for like a
Really?
year or something. And that was the only place she would buy jeans because one of her sons could not make it like a month.
That's
My
Eli.
mom used to sew patches in before she gave them to my brother. Like,
Yeah.
they turn them inside out. I remember her like ironing or sewing patches in, but like,
Yeah.
it was a thing. She was proactive in that area, and I never like, why would you need to do that? And then,
Yeah.
I had boys, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. I will say that is the downside of leggings. We don't have leggings that make it more than a season.
No.
It just
Well, yeah.
doesn't. Even girls.
But they're cheap enough,
They're
so.
very
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah.
They are really thin.
Well, this generation also, like, none of my girls tell horror stories of tights. And
Oh,
where
right.
that
Oh,
yeah.
where they hit and how horrible they
Yes.
were, and that their youngest daughter is part of the like she's spoiled. Well, leggings are a thing, so she can wear leggings under her
Yep.
dress, and she doesn't have to
Right.
wear tights. So
Right.
Yep.
that's what we do a ton of, and they of course think it's now a rite of passage that you must wear horrible
Right.
tights, and that it's not fair that she got out of that.
Okay, the next one on the list is actually one of my pet peeves. So I'm about to out myself and potentially even make people sitting at this table mad because I don't know how you feel about it.
So
mad.
So I love all of you and anybody listening who knows me. Watered down soap for me is like absolutely a no-go.
Oh, I don't water down soap.
I do the Castile
I
soap.
don't.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking
You're
about like
taking-
they were
cutting
taking
it
like
with
hand
water.
soap
Yeah.
where like they'll add water to like dilute it and make it go longer. Okay, if we
I
were
do
in the
if
Great
we're like
Depression,
low and
I'm with
I
ya.
don't have soap.
Right.
So yeah.
But it's
no.
it's a no for me.
Well, you were a soap maker, so
Okay,
or are a
I'm going to
soap
tell you
maker,
why.
but,
This is
yeah.
this is the reason why. If from making soap, I do think you're right because water is not sterile, and so all you've done is you've added water into. And here's the thing: soap in and of itself isn't sterile. What makes soap work is actually the action of
Friction.
rubbing your hands.
Right.
Soap clings to the germs and bacteria. You're washing them away. So when you add water into your soap, you just
defeating the
introduce
purpose.
bacteria into your soap. So there's my little soapbox. Ha ha ha.
Gotta water down my
Seriously,
soap.
it's no.
We're good.
Okay,
Even
great.
though it's clear,
Yeah.
I didn't water it down. I just like clear soap.
Yeah, no.
What else do you got there?
The last one was kitchen scraps, which we've talked a lot about. Like obviously farm animals
Right.
would be easy. We've talked about how you can regrow from kitchen scraps. As I think Rachel currently has like the green onion thing upside down in water and pineapple in one, and we're
I
seeing what
have my
happens. All
celery
the
is now
things.
in my garden. My celery
Yeah.
that I sprout, like put in water. I was saving all of the. I bought organic celery and I had them all in glasses, and now they're in my garden. So I'm excited to see how they
That's
turn out.
exciting.
They're growing. I know.
I've never grown celery. I've always wanted to grow it.
How
I hear
crazy.
the Amish, there's like a thing, they must use it in a lot of their salads for their weddings, but they say that when you go, that's how they know if they're planning a wedding for one of their children. Is how much celery's in their garden.
Interesting.
That was interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we opened with that quote: "Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without." And I honestly, I don't think I'd heard it until today.
Oh, that's, yeah. My grandma was famous for saying that.
Well, it
And
really
some
is
other ones that I
interesting.
won't repeat, but that was a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think again, by the nature of our families,
Yes.
our husbands, like my husband's currently a teacher, but really trade at heart. All three of our husbands, and the large family component, like the make it do or do without part. we
My
totally
boys
all
have the
feel.
wear it out down.
They've got to wear it out. I feel like shoes is like that. Like
yeah.
kids and shoes,
Socks.
you better wear. No, we lose those.
Oh,
Okay.
they get run over with by the
Boys.
lawnmower, and
Why do
Mine
boys
wear
have
them like
holes in their
shoes.
socks?
I would say
but
mine wear them
girls
like
don't
shoes.
have holes in their socks.
I've
Listen,
been embarrassed when we've gone to like
right?
shoe shopping and they pull their foot out and the sock looks. I'm like, really, really.
Did you look at Cyrus's feet on Sunday?
I did.
I did.
don't
I
know who
missed
did
it.
One of
that.
those socks was really bougie. It was a no-show sock. I'm like, I want
Wait,
that
wait.
sock, Si.
To the other Foisey
that mine?
who got
Did
him
my girls
socks.
leave that sock there?
There was a no show socks on my 6-year-old and a polka dotted
polka dot,
sock
yeah.
on the other side.
Yeah.
And apparently he had no shoes. Now he did not go with me to church. He was with my husband and the other children. So
Yeah.
Okay, but
yeah.
mine on Sunday was I looked down my row. I won't out who they were, but 2 or 3 of my not little children were barefoot. Now, I instantly look like under where they're
holy
sitting
ground.
to see if their shoes they weren't there. Their shoes weren't there. So I'm like, did you
So
leave
they
them outside?
arrived barefoot?
Did you leave them in the car? Are they like at the
Were you
door
able
to
to
the
concentrate
church?
on the sermon, or were you so distracted by barefoot children?
Actually, this was my thought. And I'm not even joking. I can't make up the sweet thought that came into my brain was this. Normally, I'd be really angry. And if we were somewhere else at a different time in our life, I'd be mortified. But these people will be like,
They're my people.
go,
Yeah.
sister. Like, who cares if
It's
they're
warm
barefoot?
outside, it's fine.
So is mine. And actually, me too. Like,
Well,
I can think of plenty of people in our
Right.
church who prefer to be barefoot, and they wouldn't care.
They're grounding.
They're grounded.
and if you can have a baby goat in service,
right,
Right.
then
Because you
can be
had to.
barefoot.
then I guess you can be barefoot
Yes.
or
What's the
mismatched
big deal?
socks, or
Yeah.
as long as you're there worshiping the Lord.
That's right.
In your
not true. I
no-show
retract that.
polka dot socks.
Anyone at our church, I don't mean that. Don't come in anything, please. But
yes.
you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
But it was just weird. So, but it was a warmer day, and who knows if that was. But yeah, so it was good. So I had I was thinking a lot about today about how, like you were saying, things aren't made like they used to be. Our ability really to like conserve and save. Again, this is like the conspiracy theory part of me, but they really have made it very hard.
Yes.
Okay, so the way,
Oh, yeah.
like in doing that research stuff, like the way that they make our appliances, the way they measure certain things that we're doing, the way that they're building,
Yes.
even your cars. Like my husband is a mechanic by trade, but teacher for job, and he would tell you like all the new wonderful things that we love about cars. He doesn't want anything to do with because they make it so it can't last. You can't fix it. You can't repair like these electronic boards in the car. So
Right.
they're forcing you into buying new ones. It's the same thing with like our appliances. So when my mom's house burned, I think in 2017, her washing machine was still the washing machine that she purchased before I was born in the early 80s. And
That's amazing.
she loved it.
Yeah.
She loved it. But I was thinking about the way it works, and so if somebody has seen this, correct me, please, or like tell us. But I was actually telling your husband Heath this a couple weeks ago, and he was just like shocked that they don't make it so she could water save. There was a dial on our washing machine, and this is where a set tub came from.
Yes.
The set tub was
Yes.
right by the washing machine. She would wash the darks first, and the water that washed it, she would save and go into the set tub. And then she would do the colored clothes. She would pull that same water, wash it. It's always rinsed with clean water,
Yeah.
but the water it would wash in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I went backwards. Whites first,
Yeah.
then colors. By the time you did dark, your water was that dingy gray. But it didn't matter because you were
Right,
washing
right.
dark
Yeah.
clothes.
Yeah.
So she would easily get 3 full loads of laundry out of the same water. And so it's interesting because we talk about like these HE washers, and I'm like, you really had it already. Like you had the high efficiency because you could water save, and they've removed it. So like not only can you not do it, but what do they last now? Like I think we're on like year 5 or 6.
5 to 7, I think. Yeah.
We replace a dishwasher approximately every 3 years in our house. I mean, it just, I know
well,
you
they're
don't
not
'cause you
even
don't have
made,
one.
I don't think, to wash
No,
them.
they're-
It's like
right.
our washer and dryer. When it goes and I'm upset, my mother-in-law always tells me, they did not make it thinking you were going to do 2 to 3 loads a day.
That's what my parents say the same thing.
Which is why my dream is to have the laundromat washer and dryer.
Yes.
That brand. Yes.
The Speed Queen. Okay, but the Speed Queen is known for being amazing and the longevity because it is not HE and they have not upgraded the parts to plastic pieces.
Well, I'm telling you, it's this way. You need to listen to the older folks because when that new stuff comes out and they say, no, you won't be able to repair it yourself without a car, or, no, those parts are all plastic in there. And once they break, they break. These are the times to go, I wonder why they, and ask some questions.
Yeah.
Because there are good reasons behind the why.
Newer is not always better. Like I'm reminded of getting an oil change on our van a little while back. And when the young lady asked me what the mileage was and we were over 300,000, she thought I made a mistake. She was like, what? And she's like, that is unheard
This homeschool lady did not know how to do math.
But it is. I mean, it's, I don't even know. It's maybe 2004, 2005, which to me sounds newer, but I know it really is ancient because we're in 2023. But newer is not necessarily better.
No.
Well, and it is, I mean, I just remember sitting like in a financial class, not the one through our church, where they were talking about like if you're going to sell a car, you got to always make sure you're going to sell it before 100,000 miles because it dips in depreciation or, depreciation. I just remember thinking, I don't think we've ever purchased a car with less than 100,000 miles. Like, we're the people buying what you're selling because
We
because
finally
they still
came
have
up in
another
the world.
200,000 on them.
And we have heated seats in a couple of our vehicles now. And I like looked at my husband and I said, I love you. And I will drive whatever I drive, but I don't know if I can go back now. Like, this might be like, I don't care if I have to roll down the window manually, but if there's a heated seat, that is what I desire.
Okay, so we just were gifted a truck from Brian's dad to him. And in the world of cars, like it's brand new because he's hardly driven it. We're so unbelievably thankful and just completely in love. But I was in the truck yesterday with Ellie, who got in the front seat. And she says to me, Mom, what is this? Okay. And I'm expecting like the window, but it's not. It's automatic windows.
Yeah.
It was the door lock because the door lock was on like where the window goes down, right on the windowsill,
right,
where it would be, like you push it up or down.
Yeah.
She's never seen that. They're always like
on the
where
doors.
the handles are, where the doors are, and of course they're all electric. And so I was like, "Honey, it's the thing that locks the door." And she's like now we're locked inside. We can't get out. Like, no, you just push it up with your finger.
Old school.
Yes.
Cool.
So in our repurposing and thrifting thing, like I would say we've all been newly married and we've all been really tight with money. And in hindsight, I think it's sometimes wiser to just like go without, save the money, buy the better thing
quality.
and the quality thing in the long run versus the make do thing in the meantime. And it's, maybe the Great Depression thinking of like saving the things that you may not need, like you're going to use, or set a time frame of, like I'm going to keep this for this amount of time. And if you haven't repurposed it or used it, then get rid of it. But, guys, it really is the struggle between like that minimalism, living, repurposing what you have,
being prepared.
Yes. And ultimately, like, I think if you're just very wise about what comes into your home in the first place, it makes the rest of those decisions easier on the long run.
And it's seasonal, like, of course you're keeping clothes and totes to pass down to youngers when you have that. And then, there's a time when that passes. Actually, we don't, as things cycle through, we're done. So
my mother used to lecture me all the time because I would cry and tell her that my house would overwhelm me and I couldn't live in all of these things. And like every room just felt too full. And she would say, because all the people live here.
Yes.
Like, you're not a hoarder. You just got a big family. Like, get over yourself. Like, which thing are you going to get rid of, right? I'm like, shh.
Who's moving out?
Right.
And now they're growing up and moving out.
On the
You're
other
like,
side. I'm like,
no,
no, don't
you could
leave.
just live here.
Yeah.
It really is a mindset. The repurposing is just looking at everything and saying, what could I do with this? Or, you know, even to me, the easiest thing to repurpose is kitchen scraps. I'm always looking and going, you know, like these eggshells, should they go in the trash? Well, probably not. They have other purposes, whether it's in your garden or grinding it in the chicken feed or, you know, or my egg cartons or anything. You just look at anything and do it. Does this need to go in the trash can? Am I going to be at the store purchasing something else because I threw away this thing that could have served the purpose?
Right.
Which just, I mean, like they talk about that with organization, which I'm totally guilty of. When I can't find something, am I buying it again? Because, you know, like that goes back to our planning and routines that we talked about. And same thing, like if you're, you know, like you were saying, how does this tie into homesteading? Well, my goodness, if you could get into the thrifting and repurposing mindset, it is just like on a scale times a million when you have a farm and a homestead because everything is more expensive and you definitely need to repurpose and reuse. So
we would encourage you to, repurpose and reuse as much as you can and be wise.
Yeah. Well, it was good today, ladies.
We had a lot to say.
I know we did. We hope you stuck with us to the end.
Yes.
Right.
So,
no big announcements this time.
I don't think we have any big announcements. No. We had a quieter week. We have a quieter week coming up. We're all, you know,
my granddaughter turned 1 today. I can't believe it. I feel the
Today?
same, yes, I feel the same way as I did with my oldest daughter. Like,
What?
I don't remember
How
a
did that
time she
happen?
wasn't here.
Oh.
Do you know that feeling of like,
nothing was before you?
yeah. So
That's very sweet.
it is.
I love it. Well, as always, thanks for joining us today. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We love reading your comments and reviews, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Yep. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.